It has now been more than 2 decades since the Cabrini-Green housing projects were torn down in Chicago and replaced with new housing. 21 years later, CBS 2's Suzanne Le Mignot spoke to the developer and the very first person to move from Cabrini-Green into one of the newly constructed buildings.
When I say these two words, Cabrini-Green, what comes to mind for you?
Home. It was my home.
In 2001, Betty Flake was a single parent with 3 children in elementary school. They all called Cabrini-Green home for a decade.
I raised my kids pretty much there. They all finished school successfully.
Flake lived in the first building torn down in Cabrini-Green in 2000. A building plagued by violence, drugs, and gangs. Flake says she was the very first Cabrini-Green resident to move into Northtown Village 21 years ago. She shared this video with us. This is the inside of her home at Christmas.
I made this my home. I got more options here than I had in Cabrini.
Northtown Village has 261 units. It sits on 7 acres where Cabrini-Green once towered.
The last one that got torn down was this one here, 1230 North Burling.
Project co-developer Peter Holston had the first of its kind vision for Northtown Village and the second phase of development, replacing Cabrini-Green, Parkside of Old Town.
We wanted to have this look like a Chicago neighborhood.
Northtown Village was a mix of rental and for sale properties with 3 income groups: those buying and renting their homes at market rate, former public housing residents from Cabrini-Green, and those qualifying for affordable housing. Flake says she, along with other Cabrini-Green residents who were part of community groups, worked directly with Holston, giving him input.
Everybody who took these places was about the beauty. It was about the change. It was ready for it.
To move into the new developments here, applicants from Cabrini-Green had to follow really strict rules. And for some, those rules were life-changing. There could be no drug use. Applicants had to pass drug tests, and you could not have a criminal record, which was the same for all other rental residents.
The ones that didn't fit this project, they didn't just throw the people out. They made sure they got their Section 8 back so they can move on. They did not just put the tenants out.
The CHA says 1,770 families were living in Cabrini-Green in October of 1999. About 500 families qualified to move into the new developments.
This is the land on which some of the most challenged buildings sat.
In 2022, there are still 2 parcels of land remaining in Parkside of Old Town, right across from the Jenner campus of the Ogden International School of Chicago.
We're just going to keep on doing this. This is my life's work, and we're going to keep doing it.
Suzanne Le Mignot, CBS 2 News.
With many of the buildings now more than 20 years old, Holston has received funding from the city to rehab all 116 rental units in Northtown Village. New flooring, bathrooms, and kitchens are going into each unit. Holston says residents will be relocated temporarily while the rehab work is done.